The reason why a lot of people struggle to understand blockchain in general and Bitcoin in particular is because this is a technology which was truly transformatory. It was totally disruptive. It wasn't incremental. It wasn't built on the existing financial system.
There is no other example of anything having started by retail and that has gone institutional. Everything else in finance starts institutional and then gets sold down to retail.
Bitcoin is the kind of grandfather to all crypto assets, and it was the original blockchain. It uses what's called a proof of work mechanism to trade. And Bitcoin is obviously an asset that's getting a lot of attention at the moment. It kind of exists against a backdrop of macroeconomic uncertainty, as well as a crypto-friendly agenda in the White House. And so there's a lot of people looking to hold BTC at the moment on balance sheets.
No regulator designed it, no person designed it, no government designed it. It's a computer algorithm which which solves for the problems which are needed for creating a mechanism for transfer of wealth.
I actually had an exit in China in 2016, and part of that payment, which was a fair amount of money, because of capital controls of sending out dollars of China, they could only pay me in RMB, which I really didn't want. So they then said, well, the only alternative we have is we can pay you in something called Bitcoin and Ethereum. And so to be frankly honest, I didn't know much about it at that point. I called some friends in the Valley and I said, look, I've been offered a fair amount of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Do you think I should take it? And they said, well, look, you should view it as an option, right? Two things are either going to happen. This is either a technology that, like all technologies, comes and goes, or it will fundamentally change everything. And so I liked that statement. It may fundamentally change everything as a tech investor. So I took it.
The Bitcoin white paper was issued in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crisis, right? And the key thing that changed the world in that financial crisis was that global central banks and governments started printing money. They printed money, global money supply went up, and it reduced drastically the purchasing power of any fiat, right? Obviously, emerging market currencies which are indebted in dollars, they suffered the most. But even if you look at US dollars value over the last 15, 20 years, that has receded, right? So this decentralized technology, which is Bitcoin, that was inspired by this need to but reduce the reliance on individual authorities who can control the fate of your savings.
Anybody that is more than 25 years old will remember basically 2008, 2009 financial crisis. And anybody that has been in finance or even in fund management will vividly remember it, even the days. So the end of October was the darkest days of the global financial crisis. I remember the day I was coming to the office of the hedge fund I was working on, and I was in the black cab. I was coming down from Hampstead to Mayfair in London, for the ones that know London. And I saw a queue in front of the various banks. I saw queues literally outside of the bank, people trying to queue up and to take their money out. So I remember I was literally thinking, wait a minute, I worked for so many years, all my money is in the bank, am I gonna get my money back, basically, right? So Bitcoin was published, the white paper was published during those days, basically, right? And so for me, I was fascinated by it, by what it was standing for, and by the fact that it was actually a financial product that wasn't sold to us by institutions.
I first read and wrote a report on blockchain in 2012. Incidentally, when I wrote that report, the price of Bitcoin went up, and newspapers in Germany said that it's the report by Berenberg Bank, where I worked, which has led the price to go up above $100. Today, as you would know, it's close to $100,000. So a lot has changed in that journey. And that mechanism, which was initially started at the grassroots level by people transferring money between each other, became so big that after institutions started adopting it, financial institutions started adopting it, then they started recommending it to their customers. So big asset managers like BlackRock and Fidelity and Capital started telling their clients that you should invest 3 to 5% of your wealth in digital assets. Then companies started putting it in their treasuries. Most famously, MicroStrategy, which is now called Strategy, started putting their treasury money in Bitcoin. And now we are at a stage where governments are adopting it. The example I gave of the US setting up a strategic reserve to invest in this. So a whole movement which started from people has gone all the way up to the government's adoption.
Any innovation takes a generation. And, Bitcoin is 16 years old. So, I think when he or she becomes like 21, right, that's a generation. So it's still very, very early days. And I think there's a huge opportunity for people to get exposure to Bitcoin and other digital assets that are going to make life easier for people around the world.